Welcome back. Now, the government has been under increased pressure over its relationship with Beijing in recent weeks, following, of course, the collapse of that trial of two men alleged to have spied for China. Both have denied all the allegations, but there have been questions also over the delay to the decision on the Chinese super embassy. Now, dismay has spilled out beyond the UK. Congressman John Moolenaar, who chairs the US House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, has written to the British Embassy to express his concern that the spying case had been dropped. I spoke to him a little earlier from Washington, D.C. I suppose the first question, Congressman, is that you and others have been looking at the situation of our relationship with China, and particularly when it comes to the location of the embassy here in London. And you're not terribly happy with the UK's position on all of this?
Well, clearly, the UK was a target of Chinese surveillance and espionage. And when it comes to those kinds of infractions, I believe that free nations need to push back on what China's doing. And I've been the target of CCP cyber hacks, and they were trying to get information on trade negotiations from different agencies and different people in the private sector, and as long as they are allowed to continue this activity with impunity, this will increase and be devastating for the free world.
I mean, the UK's position at the moment is to, I think, compete, cooperate, and also to challenge. Doesn't that seem like a kind of slightly rational place to be when you are a country like the UK and you're dealing with the world's second largest economy?
You don't want to reward them with a large embassy that can also be used for surveillance and other malign activities. And when there's clear evidence, that needs to be acted upon and prosecuted. We've seen activity in my home state of Michigan, where we've had Chinese nationals trying to spy on military activity in Michigan. And we've seen service members bribed. But basically, at the bottom line is the CCP is a threat to UK sovereignty, and there needs to be a strong response.
Do you think that we're not seeing that strong response, that effectively, dare I say it, that our Prime Minister, our government, has been a bit too weak in all of this?
It seems very clear that there was espionage going on, and that the MI5 did a strong investigation, and it seems that there needs to be active follow-through on that, or these kinds of incidents will only increase and, again, threaten the sovereignty of the UK.
Is it your understanding then, Congressman, that the US Embassy here in London is also concerned about the Chinese embassy and indeed activity here in the UK?
Well, we recognize that, China does not have respect for the rules of other nations. And we know that they have a national security law that basically says that any Chinese national, no matter where they are, they could be in Great Britain, they could be in America, are duty bound to follow their national security laws that basically say whatever the Chinese Communist Party requires them to do, they are to carry that out. And they are doing that, with financial, bribes, stealing technological secrets, trying to get access to new technologies, and that would benefit their military-industrial complex. So we just have to recognize that is their modus operandi, and we need to push back as allies and friends, because ultimately, when you have Parliament being spied on, there are many areas where, the U.S. Congress and our governments collaborate, through the Five Eyes and other areas. And if it's viewed that one nation is not taking this threat seriously, it really diminishes our capabilities of collaborating.
But in saying that, is the United States taking this seriously as well? I mean, President Trump literally this week said, "I want to be good to China. I love my relationship with President Xi. We've got a great relationship." You guys are trading with China.
Yeah.
I would suggest you're not exactly taking a hard line on China when it comes to the United States.
Well, and that's one of the reasons we have a committee in Congress dedicated to looking at the economic competition, the national security issues, as well as the human rights abuses. When you look at what's happened in Hong Kong with Jimmy Lai being in prison. And it's something that people are becoming more aware of in the United States because, like the UK, the US, we believe that China was going to rise peacefully 30 years ago, become more democratic, more freedom-loving. Under Xi Jinping, it's been just the opposite. Now, I applaud President Trump for trying to
just to push you on that, but President Trump hasn't changed his tune in all of this. He's talked repeatedly through his first term and his second term about how much he quite likes Xi Jinping. He's showing no sign of trying to undermine the US's relationship with China. Quite the opposite.
Well, there are very aggressive tariffs right now that are being
But he's imposed tariffs, stronger tariffs on India, which is the only power in Asia that could be a balance to China. He's taken a harder line against a democratic country in Asia.
Yeah, I would just say my goal, and I know the president's goal, is to have clarity with respect to China. We recognize that our economies are intertwined, but we also want to restrict access to critical technologies that are used for dual use purposes, for military, that would threaten the United States and our allies.